BTS News Today. Unmasking the Accusation. What was Jungkook publicly involved in? In the modern era of global pop culture, fame travels faster than facts. Few artists embody this reality more vividly than Jungkook, the youngest member of the South Korean phenomenon BTS. As one of the most recognizable faces in the world, Jungkook's life has been lived under relentless public observation, where even the smallest incident can be magnified into a headline, and vague rumors can quickly transform into what the public perceives as accusations. Yet, when the noise is stripped away and the facts are carefully examined, a far more nuanced story emerges, one that reflects the pressures of celebrity, the dynamics of media culture, and the human cost of fame rather than criminality or scandal. The word accusation, when attached to a global figure like Jungkook, often carries an immediate negative weight. For casual observers, it may suggest legal trouble, ethical misconduct, or serious wrongdoing. In Jungkook's case, however, the controversies that have surrounded his name over the years have largely been rooted in misunderstandings, social scrutiny, or minor infractions that were publicly addressed and resolved. Understanding what Jungkook was actually involved in requires context, restraint, and a clear distinction between substantiated facts and speculative narratives fueled by online discourse. Jungkook debuted in 2013 as part of BTS under Big Hit Entertainment, now known as HYBE. At the time, he was only 15 years old, thrust into an industry known for its intensity and unforgiving standards. As BTS rose from a modestly recognized idol group to a global cultural force, Jungkook evolved from a teenage trainee into a symbol of youth, talent, and ambition. This meteoric rise brought admiration from millions, but also subjected him to scrutiny that few people, especially those who grew up in the public eye, are truly prepared to handle. One of the most widely discussed incidents involving Jungkook occurred in 2019, when he was involved in a minor traffic accident in Seoul. Reports confirmed that Jungkook had collided with a taxi while driving his personal vehicle. The incident was quickly framed by some media outlets as a major controversy, with language that implied recklessness or irresponsibility. In reality, the facts revealed a far more straightforward situation. Jungkook admitted fault, cooperated fully with the police investigation, and reached an amicable settlement with the taxi driver. No one was seriously injured, and no criminal charges were pursued beyond standard traffic procedures. Despite the clarity of the outcome, the incident became a focal point for criticism. For some, it symbolized the expectation that idols should be flawless, while for others it was an opportunity to question the maturity of a young celebrity navigating adulthood under public pressure. Jungkook issued an apology through his agency, expressing sincere remorse and acknowledging his mistake. The case was legally closed, yet the narrative lingered online, often stripped of its resolution and repeated without context. Another moment that fueled public discussion was Jungkook's appearance at social gatherings during the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. He was reported to have visited restaurants and entertainment venues in Itaewon, along with other celebrities, before strict social distancing guidelines were fully enforced by the South Korean government. Although the gatherings did not violate any laws at the time, public sentiment was sensitive due to the rapidly evolving health crisis. As news spread, the situation was framed by some as irresponsible behavior, even though it occurred before official restrictions were in place. Once again, Jungkook addressed the situation directly. Through his agency, he apologized for causing concern and acknowledged that his actions, while not illegal, could have been more considerate given the circumstances. Importantly, there was no evidence that he or those he met contributed to virus transmission, and health authorities confirmed that the individuals involved tested negative. The controversy highlighted a broader issue faced by public figures during crises: the expectation to act not only within the law, but also according to evolving public sentiment that may change overnight. Beyond these incidents, Jungkook has frequently been the subject of rumors related to his personal life, including dating speculation and alleged behavioral issues. In many cases, these so-called accusations originated from unverified online sources edited photographs, or anonymous posts that gain traction simply because of his fame. South Korean entertainment culture, while celebrated for its artistry, is also known for its intense fan engagement and equally intense scrutiny. For idols, privacy is often treated as a privilege rather than a right, and ordinary human experiences can be reframed as moral failings. What distinguishes Jungkook's public record is the absence of substantiated allegations involving criminal conduct, abuse, or exploitation, issues that have plagued other high-profile figures in various industries. Instead, the controversies surrounding him tend to revolve around expectations of perfection. Fans and critics alike project ideals onto idols, and when those ideals are challenged by reality, disappointment can quickly morph into condemnation. Media framing plays a crucial role in this process. Headlines are designed to capture attention, and ambiguity often attracts more clicks than clarity. The use of words like accusation or controversy can imply severity even when the underlying facts suggest otherwise. In Jungkook's case, this has resulted in cycles of outrage followed by clarification, apology, and resolution. Unfortunately, the initial shock often leaves a more lasting impression than the quieter truth that follows. It is also essential to consider Jungkook's own responses to public criticism. Rather than denying responsibility or remaining silent, he has consistently chosen to acknowledge mistakes and express regret when appropriate. This pattern reflects a level of accountability that is often demanded of public figures, but rarely recognized once it is demonstrated. His apologies have not been defensive statements crafted to protect an image at all costs. Instead, they have emphasized learning, reflection, and growth. As Jungkook matured, both personally and professionally, his public image evolved. He took on greater artistic responsibility, contributing to songwriting and production, and later pursuing solo projects that showcased a deeper emotional range. His music increasingly explored themes of vulnerability, identity, and self-awareness, topics that resonated with fans who themselves were navigating complex social pressures. In this sense, the scrutiny he faced did not define him, rather, it became part of the environment in which he grew. The broader question raised by Jungkook's experiences is not simply what he was involved in, but why such involvement is often framed as an accusation in the first place. The answer lies in the intersection of celebrity culture, digital media, and public expectation. In a world where information spreads instantly, and judgment often precedes verification, the line between fact and interpretation can blur rapidly. For global stars like Jungkook, every action exists in a hyper-visible space where context can be lost and nuance overlooked. Unmasking the so-called accusations against Jungkook ultimately reveals a pattern that is familiar across modern pop culture. A young artist makes human mistakes. Those moments are amplified by media attention, and the resulting narratives oscillate between condemnation and defense. When examined closely, these incidents are less about scandal and more about the pressures placed on individuals who are expected to embody perfection while living real lives. Today, Jungkook stands not as a figure defined by controversy, but as an artist who has navigated fame with resilience. The episodes that once dominated headlines now serve as footnotes in a much larger story of global influence, creative achievement, and personal growth. By separating rumor from reality, it becomes clear that what Jungkook was publicly involved in were not crimes or hidden transgressions, but moments that exposed the unrealistic standards imposed on idols and the fragile nature of reputation in the digital age. In the end, unmasking the accusation is less about revealing wrongdoing and more about revealing the mechanisms that turn ordinary human experiences into extraordinary public spectacles. Jungkook's story serves as a reminder that behind every headline is a person, and behind every accusation, there should always be a careful search for truth. The discussion surrounding Jungkook cannot be separated from the broader structure of the K-pop industry itself, an ecosystem that thrives on perfection while quietly depending on sacrifice. Idols are trained for years not only in singing and dancing, but also in how to behave, speak, and even feel in public. When Jungkook entered this world as a teenager, his identity was still forming, yet his actions were already subject to judgment by millions. This context is essential when examining why relatively minor incidents were framed as accusations rather than ordinary life events. As BTS's popularity expanded beyond Asia into Europe, the Americas, and the rest of the world, Jungkook's visibility multiplied exponentially. Global fame introduced him to audiences unfamiliar with the norms of idol culture, while still binding him to its strict expectations. Western media often approached his image through the lens of celebrity scandal culture, while Korean media evaluated him according to moral and social standards traditionally imposed on idols. Caught between these two perspectives, Jungkook became a figure onto whom different cultures projected their own assumptions about fame, responsibility, and youth. Social media intensified this phenomenon. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and online forums turned every candid photograph, every leaked video clip, and every anonymous claim into potential evidence for or against his character. In such an environment, truth competes with virality. A rumor does not need to be accurate to spread. It only needs to be emotionally engaging. Jungkook's name, carrying immense recognition, often became a magnet for speculation precisely because it guaranteed attention. One recurring pattern in the narrative surrounding Jungkook is the moralization of normal adulthood. Whether it involved him spending time with friends, expressing himself through tattoos and piercings, or simply being seen outside without his group members, each moment was dissected for meaning. For some observers, these actions symbolized independence and growth. For others, they were framed as rebellion or irresponsibility. The language of accusation thrived in this gray area, where subjective interpretation replaced objective assessment. It is also worth noting the role of fan culture, both supportive and adversarial. While millions of fans have consistently defended Jungkook, countering misinformation with verified facts, there exists another side of fandom culture that actively seeks controversy. Rival fan groups, anti-fans, and anonymous online users sometimes amplify negative narratives to undermine an artist's reputation. In Jungkook's case, false accusations have periodically surfaced, only to be debunked later by official statements or lack of evidence. However, the emotional damage caused by such rumors often lingers long after corrections are issued.